bit to find more stories on feminism, we find ourselves right here in Mathare slums. We meet Rachel Mwikali, who is the founder and convener, Coalition for Grassroots Human Rights Defenders Kenya. She is a leader, community organizer, feminist, and a woman human rights defender from Mathare informal settlements in Nairobi County, Kenya. She's a superstar, as you will see throughout this episode. But other than that, she's the reason why we're here, to find out more about the movement that she leads, that is Pussy Power. So we finally get to sit down with a superstar of this area. Yani, penye tunapita, someone has to know who Mwikali is. Mwikali, thank you so much for having us again. It's a pleasure.
Karibuni. And thank you for coming back again. Tuna appreciate tunapenda wageni, eh? Na nasema ni superstar.
And what a coincidence. We're wearing matching t-shirts and we didn't tell each other. Imagine.
It's the feminist love telepathy, eh? The pussy power in us.
So this is what we're actually talking about today, right? And you know, for so many people, including even myself, last year when you told me about this initiative, I was like, why the name, right? Because anyone talking about this word thinks about something completely different, right? But you chose this name to drive your initiative. Why the name?
Interesting. So as a movement, which is Coalition for Grassroots Human Rights Defenders Kenya, we are such a movement of grassroots activists, community organizers, and feminists organizing grassroots community. And for us, Pussy Power is political, the way we say personal is political as women. And keeping in mind, we are from informal settlements, and also in a space also that is more of rights, but we felt for us, using the word Pussy Power, it correlates with our own struggle. And ideally, it was not like a Rachel Mwikali idea. It was an idea, we born it, I'll say, together with a student from Swedish school. She used to be here. And for her, it was just a project. For us, we were like, for me, it's not a project. For us, it's a personal, it's political, and we have been organizing around it. And it has reached the time that we need to push it further beyond just a one-day project or a program. And that's why even like when we started, we were like, even first our team member were like, Rachel, you come with these radical things that sometimes you think you are crazy.
Too much, huh?
And like for me, personally, like I like those controversial things that in a threatened patriarch, in a temeka kidogo, niko shake the tree movement, huh? Biology has been used against us as women and as girls for such a long time. Like if there's any scandal in Kenya, unasikia madem alitumia miguu zao kaomoka. Okay, kama alichokutumia kaomoka, where's your problem?
It's funny because anytime you hear msichana ameomoka, you'll be like, alisaidiwa na nani?
Exactly.
There's always that.
Na pia machali hutumia pia miguu zao kuomoka, lakini hatuongeangi ya machali. So it's like, let's bring this biology word that will disrupt people and will create conversation. In this country, we say women power, but it's not taken with a lot of weight. So sisi, we said we are starting where we live, to change the narrative and patriarchal system that work against us. Huku tu ghetto. Because if you see Pussy Power is more famous in ghetto than mainstream.
So
mainstream.
For me, when I heard, I was like, that happening here.
Exactly.
It was quite a shocker for me.
Exactly. So you find even people don't call me Mwikali, they'll call it Pussy Power, Pussy Power. Even in spaces that they wouldn't say it, even the people in power wouldn't say it, but now they'll be like, Team Pussy Power, tuko imara, tuko pamo. Because it's about, the whole idea about Pussy Power is about changing how we are viewed as women, how we are being judged, how patriarchal system and structures are violating us, whether it comes to leadership, things to do with violence against women and girls, even now with COVID, things to do with the teenage pregnancy. People are blaming the girls, and for me it's problematic. It's about power. The men took advantage of the girls. Either they didn't have food in their home, or they didn't have sanitary towels. So for us, we say, let's use this provoking word that we feel proud of, to be honest. And also, it has not been like a one-person work. It has been a collective work of Coalition for Grassroots Human Rights Defender. And also because we also have a diplomatic convener called Naomi Rael. She works with the Belgian Embassy. She has been like super instrumental in terms of also like ensuring also the diplomatic community and the civil society spaces. Because also civil society, not everybody really accommodated us. They saw us as problematic feminists, like. And
you know, naturally, I think the word, someone acknowledging that they are feminists has a negative connotation towards it, right? You know, when someone says, I'm a proud feminist, someone will be like, why? Does that mean that men are,
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
And for us, even like you see what we have written there, proudly an apologetic African feminist, is that the fact feminism didn't start now in Africa. It's a long time ago, even at the Advocacy community. Like the good example I usually give in Kenya, which I'm very proud of, is the Kikuyu community and now matriarchal it is. Like you see, like Kikuyu women are super powerful. Now they organize and now they've been able to even raise their kids. Even their kids are named after their mothers.
Right.
So what does that's pussy power, my friends. And then also like looking people like Mekatilili Wamenza, the way she forced even the colonialists, the kind of work she did. Right. People like Modoni Nanjiro, during the way she went to be in solidarity to the comrade that was held in Central Police Station. That's pussy power. People like Professor Wangari Mathare, that's pussy power. If she was able to threaten the late Moi regime, that's pussy power. Like the power we have as women, the power we have even when we are dealing with subsistence budget, but we're able to say, hii niko na 50 bob lakini naipange hivi na hivi na watu wakule washibe. Because activism yetu watu ndani kila activist ni watu wadona, sisi si wadona, tujafika kwa wadona. But we're like, how can we come up also with the socioeconomic aspect, which is feminist economy? Right. We are selling the t-shirt, but at the same time we're selling the message. For us, it's not about the money, it's about the message. Because if you buy the t-shirt and then you wear it, wherever you'll go, people will read. So the power of activism in terms of social change.
Which brings me to my question, right? So what roles or what have you been able to do in your community here to spark the conversation about pussy power, right? Yeah. I can imagine there's so many young girls walking around here, probably looking at your, t-shirt and looking at it and be like, see, probably my mom and you know what I mean, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, you're still sending a message, right?
Yeah.
So what have you been able to do for the young girls here, for their mothers, for example, for their grandmothers, with this initiative?
Like you see, our work is human rights, feminist organizing and everything. But you see, even during this time of COVID, we had to shift our work and do humanitarian work, but based on feminist values and human rights values, like giving food, even you have to pay people rent through like the public and our friends. And then also the fact that also have been doing also like distributing sanitary towels and menstrual cup. We have been also very instrumental when it comes to mentorship of the girls and the women. And also like, there's also, I remember we did also like a partnership called Bees After COVID with One Vibe Africa, Mathare Roots, like giving even women grants to support them, the ones who are their business were affected with COVID. So, but it's not like, for me, it's not about that, but it's the political work we have been able to do in terms of sensitizing the community. Like, why is feminism important in our community? And why is also pussy power important? Because reality is that with kids and women, we haven't faced that resistance. Even the kids, they'll be like, pussy power, and even the women. But for me, ideally, is how have we unpack it? Because sometimes you might see it's the language, but how have we unpack it to ensure, like, this is the message. What are we pushing? And why is pussy power important? Because even with the boys, when we have discussion, like, we are not saying, boys, you are less, but also want to teach you not to respect women when you grow up.
And that's what many people think feminism is about.
No.
It's, women are great and men are trash.
Unless men who are also violent. For men who are violent, like, you're trash, yeah. But also, like, we can't deny the fact that when it comes to feminism, it's about fighting for our own rights as women and our existence. Because we have been oppressed in the longest time ever. So if, for example, if you don't want us to continue fighting, even what I challenge men, call out to your fellow men who are violent.
Because they also have a role to play.
Yeah. And if you're in a power position, how are you ensuring the space is enabling? If, for example, in a recruitment process, do you have that gender lens or feminist lens, it's 50-50? Because women, we have that. Women, like, automatically, we are like, enye hapa kuna mkutano. Machalini wangapi, madem wangapi, or even who identify as queer or LGBTQ alphabet, like ni wangapi, so that you're able to ensure kuna inclusivity. It's a global struggle because also we have allies all over. Now, like, there's a friend of ours who's like wants to open a pussy power shop in Belgium to support our work, which we appreciate. And also we are planning to do even another activity of fundraising for this money also to support the activists that have been in the forefront. Because most of us here do this work without being paid, without being compensated.
Exactly.
Which also is another struggle. For you to fight patriarchy, my friend, you need to also to have resources. It's a lot, and it's draining. So we are in that point, we are looking in terms of also the liberation of also girls going back to school. Like now with the teenage pregnancy that we have seen, as much as Magua is saying girls to go back to school, what mechanism has he put or the government put in place to show like these girls are not going to be shamed and they're going to get enough support? You see? And that's why like we are very intentional when it comes to our politics. Activism plays a big role. Like even that's why we have this graffiti here. If you see even about the celebrating our own struggle, movement to building social justice, love, sisterhood, intersectionality, like it's the things we fight on daily basis. If it's about democracy, how many women are in power position, even in media?
And as much as they try to say, you know, we are promoting equality and whatever, when it comes to vitu kwa ground, it becomes quite different.
Like for example, like I'm a pro-choice person, yeah? And like last year, the thing also, as Team Pusipa and also as a person, we try to push. We have seen our president, Kenyatta, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, in Women Deliver Conference and ICPD Onozia, saying is supporting women liberation, girls' rights and everything, and gender equality. But here we see our country, was it in October, going and signing Geneva Consensus Declaration, which criminalizes access to safe abortion. But if you look here in formal settlement, how many women do we lose because of unsafe abortion? So it means if now Kenya signs this kind of, which is they signed, it means it's going to criminalize even women who get raped.
Yes.
So what does it say? We are going to lose a lot of women in quack. And the lives, it means also the lives, you are trading the lives of Kenyan women to a foreign government.
And you know, I think when you have such conversations, like me having this conversation with you really opens my mind to think about feminism in such a different kind of way, right? I remember just earlier on when you talked about, you know, the women and the kids, they don't have issues, right? You know, they're okay with pussy power. I'm sure even the women understand the magnitude of this because I can imagine when they go home to their husbands, it's something different. So have you seen probably the structure in the family change in a way that probably men understand that women now are not necessarily going to be, for example, cooking the entire day and waiting for them to come home and preparing for them a bath. And, you know, his only work is just to, for example, provide school fees. And that's just that, right? Have you seen maybe the structure change with the women and kids who have been involved here in their families? Yeah.
So that's like a very good question because also within our discussion, that's where also like reached a point, some of our members who have partners, they had to come even on boards.
Wow.
Some had to come on board and they were like, by the way, hata sisi tunasema pusi pana tushikanishe nini, hebu tufanye tushikanishe. And some also like were not coming also because of good intentions. They were like, because the way I said patriarchy and the power and privilege, some felt threatened. Because also like the thing we're talking about unpaid care work, because also we addressed that. For example, cooking is a survival skill that everybody should learn how to cook. Exactly. It's not like wanawake were installed with in a vagina, no. Like the whole thing is about you learn. Even me, I've learned to cook. Si kuzaliwa tinajua kupika. So the idea is that what we have seen is that there are those conversations that people are getting more interested. And that now also comes to the allies. They also like male allies that have been like, also like, when we're having this, the way I said, political conversation, they're like, but then I realize niko na much power na responsibility yangu maybe nisifanye hivi ama nifanye hivi. Watu kuna wengine ni watiaji, wataki hata wasupa ama wanaosema ngole timpusi pa kama wataki nyumba yako yaribika. I'm like, but the reality is that what we don't like also is this narrative people think at feminists atukati yangu na tukatia nangi. Nanipata?
Oh, really?
Yeah, tukatiwa na tunakatiana, hata mukatiwa na mukatiana. The only idea, hakuna mtu hataki kupendwa. Like now if I talk in terms of just the organizing, whether you love women or you love men or whichever, like hakuna mtu hatakangi kupendwa, kila mtu atakupendwa na kupendana. So we are very clear in the intention of that, as long as we mwenyewe ufanyi any act your oppression should not be feeling threatened. And that's why like for me, even like I insist even as a movement, we insist also like because it's the whole idea about also sex education. Like even with the girls, telling them, my friend, hivi lazima ujue mwili yako, because most of the time even with periods, msana anaambiwa, oh, especially huko mtaa, na most of our country don't want to talk about sex education because of their politics, their religion, quote unquote. But reality is we have to give them right information, because as much as Kenya, we are like, every Kenyan has a right to information, but information in Kenya is luxury. So notapata huku kuna quack, watu wanapata information, quack information. That's why we believe as a movement, so we have that responsibility. Madem wajue right yao, unajua nyoki have sex, kuna ugonjwa, kuna mimba. Hatutakwambia tusiju usicheze na chali ama nini. Like we are very clear. So that even if you make a decision, and as much as you are a minor, and even if parents make decision, they have to know that we have a responsibility to protect these girls, or we have a responsibility also the boys to be given the right information. That's why we don't say ati machali peke yao madem peke yake. We have that conversation with the kids, and that's why for us we believe watu wazima kubadilisha wengine ni ngumu. So we rather to put a lot of focus kwa hawa watoi and upcoming generation.
Are you feeling like there's positivity?
Yeah, I'm feeling there's that positivity because even like with COVID, when there was a lot of violence, they were the ones who were coming to report to us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even if kuna moja either amerepiwa ama amefanyiwa vitu, they were the ones who wanakuja because kids they have a very strong network. That's what I realized. Kitu kihappen, let's say kama uko mradi na mimi niko hapa, kuna venye tafika tu. Like I wouldn't say also we are there. It's still a struggle, especially now the way I say it with men, but also acknowledging not every woman also is pro-woman.
That's another question.
But we are not our enemies. No, yes. We are not our enemies. Not every women are pro-women because there are also women who benefit from patriarchy.
A lot, yes.
And for those who benefit from patriarchy, ijakuwa pia ni walk in the park. And that's why we are like, as much as we're doing this movement work, in public, maybe tuta call out, but tutakwambia my friend, hata kama ni beneficiary, unarudisha movement nyuma. But we realize that this is also an important thing that, for example, even within our own organizing in the country, we have to be clear women to remain with their own identity. Not wife ya nani or mama nani, you as a person. So that even if there's even look in terms of even achievements, most of the time, you find even political leaders, let me also chapa our political leader, male political leaders, when they get even these great achievements or nomination, they'll not say, I'm grateful to my wife, Rachel Moikali example, or Namisi Bibi a politician. But they'll be like their friends, their colleagues. But women, we know how to put even identity to the people around us. Yeah. So we call it, like, we are very intentional in challenging the things that people see abnormal. But it's like even when we did Justice for Sharon, Otieno. Like if you see our pictures, we're wearing pussy power, majority. We're like either feminist mama or pussy power, because also we have different messages depending on and also like where you fit in terms, you feel this is my personal struggle, because we acknowledge that also women, we are not homogeneous. So when you're doing that campaign of Justice for Sharon and also like ending femicide in Kenya, which most of the people, and this one I have to give credit, it was led by grassroots movement like Coalition for Grassroots Human Defender, Feminists for Peace, Grawinets, and Bunge la Mama, and the others grassroots initiative. But also because of engineerism of struggle, that's when the NGO tulishafanya kazi ya kanisa, wakachukua kwa ni program, UN Women program, but they're not also recognizing the kind of work we did as Team Pussy Power, as Team Coalition for Grassroots. Groundwork, because also we had to put our name online. People abused us, people troll us, people bullied us online. But we're like, we know why it's important. For example, we're making a consensual sex decision with a person. Hiyo ni story yangu na hiyo mtu, because we are adults. So it should not be humanizing the guys who are also killing us and humanizing us.
Yeah, very true. So would you say in some way, you know, I know earlier on you had said, you know, you love to challenge patriarchy, right? And, you know, now thinking about all the things that you're saying, and another thing that you did mention was about, you know, feminism is not just si kitu tu ya majuu.
Si ya majuu, imekuwa hapa for the longest
here, right?
time.
But you know, for so many people, they think feminism is not a cultural African thing, right? So do you think in you challenging patriarchy, it's also sort of like challenging the culture, which is African culture, the roles of the women, for example? What are women supposed to do? What's a man supposed to do? What are the kids supposed to do? Do you feel like you're also challenging that entire...
Who created this African culture? Even most, even in my own Kamba community, like who make decision unless we challenge them, it's men. Hata ukienda kununua shamba unaambiwaje ati hii ni wazee, wazee mimi ndo nanunua, mimi ndo natoa do. Mimi ndo mzee sasa, mimi ndo mzee, mimi ndo mama. And if you look the way I'm saying, because sometimes mmoja hivi nafikiria nikigrow up, kuna wale maanti ama mama mtaani nilikuwa nasikia mama ni watiaji wajaolewa ama sijui wajaza. I'm like, those women for my current generation, mwenye nimechusizai kama siko ready kuzaa ama nikiamua kuzaa ndaza watu fulani, ama nimechoose mimi siolewi unless niko ready kuolewa, ama nimechoose ndaolewa nikitaka. You see, also there's that thing people also needs to be clear. There, like, for every woman, ukichoose uko submissive na kuna information, it's okay, it's your choice. I can't contest it.
Right.
If you choose hiyo na maisha yako umetaka, I can't. That's your choice. That's your agency.
But if you choose the opposite, that's still okay.
That's still okay. So it has to come to this point. Even you don't have to give women a lot of pressure ati ndio kuwe wife material lazima uje kupika. Ati nani? Pia wewe kama yenyewe mwambie hata mtu nikatia lazima pia uje kupika. Kama uje kupika mimi yenyewe mtu yangu ingi singi box. Singi box. Niende ujifunze. Mimi nijifunze ndio ujifunze. But it does not mean we can't be in a space where we can have a conversation. Because what I've realized with guys when you're putting them and having this conversation, wengine watasikia. Nanipata. So we have to ask these hard questions in terms, when you say that African culture, what is that African culture? Because African culture was not about men beating women. As far as I know. It was not that. But why is it like men want to eat women and they're like, it's fine. They can walk away with it, they can get away with it, that's problematic.
And I think what you just said, progression is amazing because you get rid of things that were not good.
Yeah.
For example, if you can see that women are being oppressed, right? We're now moving at an age where, everything, people speak out.
Yeah.
If something is wrong, it's wrong, So then people just, I feel like also another thing is that people should be able to really change their mindset.
Exactly.
And I think that's where a lot of the challenge is, because one of the hardest things to do is change someone's mindset.
Yeah.
Because your experience is different, my experience is different, how you view the world is different, how I view the world is different, right? Yeah. But also, which brings me to ask Mwikali, from the work that you've done, are you positive with the movement and how people are embracing the change in mindset?
That's a very good one, because like, for example, last weekend, we went to this campaign, Climb for Justice, done by Defenders Coalition. And for me, I will say, for all the climbs we have gone even as Team Pussy Power, that's also, like, the way I said, our diplomatic convener, Naomi and myself, we have been like, even if we're existing also in a human rights space, it's good to bring this change of narrative that there's no justice without gender justice. There's no justice without gender justice. But for this climb specific, almost everybody was in Pussy Power t-shirts. And these are people that also control some spaces, control some decision. So for me, I'm like, this is a big thing. Even when someone can stand in public as a Pussy Power without Mwikali being there, without myself, like, even if I see some, because it's about, like, it's not about us making that ripple effect in Mathare. If you can make that ripple effect, let's say in Latin America, well and good. The message is going clearly, yeah? The message is that we are fighting for our own freedom. Until we are all free is when I can say Mwikali is free. So at least, being that it has been like since 2018 and now, that's like how many years? Is it 2 or 3 years? Yes, yeah. I'm happy. But the more also we make this progress, the more sometimes it becomes harder. Because even I know, like, one of the sacrifices also we are paid is that being blacklisted in some spaces. That's the price we've also paid. Like, unatuona na nyinyi watiaji tu sana. Hatutaki kwa hii space. Na wanaita progressive space. Mtata Team Pussy Power. The activism work, especially when it comes to Pussy Power work, is not easy. It's hard. It's sweat, it's blood. Sometimes even it has forced people to do away with their privilege, to open up space. Like now you coming to document something also that I'm happy that it's also you. You've been discussing even like having this series whereby we can talk how it has been our experiences and how it has been even seeing the kind of achievement we have made. But sometimes when you start, it's a lonely process. You feel you're alone, people are not understanding. But the more it grows, the more people also join, the more it becomes bigger. And for us, even being born and raised here, the things we have gone through, and we still go through as women, huh? We are like, we need to keep on fighting. Especially even now, for example, with this story that is going on in the country, I'm like, give women 2/3. Like, it's not enough you saying also with these discussions you do, you're building bridges, how many what? Like, you cannot put women in Senate where there's no power. Put women where there's title and resources. So it's super important and very intentional. Sometimes even I tell some of our sisters who are into these political spaces, my friend, ground. So also you owe it to the women movement, and you need to respect that. Because some of us are paying blood, even though I'm saying, for them, like we are paying even unanyimo jobs, places zingine, when problematic, in order to ensure like women are respected, girls are respected. Anywhere, in whichever position in this country. But also at the same time, people should, like the thing even like, I remember there's one person was like, your initiative is really good, but can you change the name? I'm like, which name do you want us to change? Like, but if you say something like Vagina Monologue, I can give you resources. I'm like, For us, it's not about resources. It's about us, our existence. And the fact, the kind of work we have done, bila zero resources za tufora na sheria zetu pia. So we can't, that's the thing also, like even being in different spaces in the civil society, I'm very clear and intentional. You cannot water the kind of work in your ground. Exactly. The power belongs to the people. The power belongs to the women who make pussy power work every day, which I respect them. And I'm saying, like, to be honest, even I'm feeling like emotional. I'm like, if it were not for them, we would have not reached where we are. Like, I'm in this space of resistance in Mathare with pussy power and Natuko attacked. See, easy. It's not having this space where also everybody's like, I want to take a picture. Even people coming from all over, they're like, we want to take a picture here. And even outside, we're like, tumefanya job. I know it's a long journey. We have like a lot of work to do, and we'll still do it. And also that's why we are calling people like you. Pia nyinyi push malimko. Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, just listening to what you're saying makes me think. You know, sometimes people would never understand things that they probably not experience or are probably in denial about, right? Because let's look at it, Mikali. You've experienced, you know, situations where you felt like you were put down just for the fact that you are a woman.
Exactly.
Right? I felt the same way.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sure so many other women. So either they're in denial that
exactly.
for real there needs to be change, or maybe
tutapambana to give up. And that's the thing I tell people, even until now, as feminist as I am, I still fight every day where I'm being judged. As a young woman, umepigana, you fight on your way up. I'm like, I'm like, if you only know the kind of work I've put to be where I am, to be in spaces I am, it's not like it's a privilege. I've worked to be where I am. It's a collective work to say, patriarchy, it's here, it exists, we are here to fight it. And we are here to change things the way they have been seen in a different, like another world is possible. That's what I would say, yeah.
Amazing.
And it takes pussy power to be here.
Pussy power. That's why I'm here, right? Anyway, thank you so much. And lastly, this art that is right behind us was actually
done by
women.
Yeah.
Right? And you know, it's such small things that really inspire such a young generation, you know? Like, because I remember the videographer had walked in and was like, did Mutua do this? And you were like, no.
Exactly.
You know, this was, you know, a collaboration of different women who came up with this art. And I can only imagine for like young girls coming here and seeing other women put this together.
Exactly. So we are doing this in terms also like a political space. Like for example, how many graffiti do we have that have been done by women in this country? And we have women graffiti, even in town. So for us, we're like, we need to have this, we have to be intentional, like who are we giving also this work? Yes, I agree the other one was done by Mtua, but with the partnership of also Mathare Roots and us. But we're like, it has to come on the role of women. This is what we want. Exactly. So most of the time, we decide, we co-create together. It's not like we can't sit here. So we're like, what's the best thing to do? Like we do pussy power. So these are simple resistance, women power and pussy power. And even you can see the message the way I'd say it. It's more of our struggle on a daily basis.
And I think just me, you know, I've seen that girls' resistance, and I think just the fact that it's called girls' resistance does not mean then, you know, girls are becoming unruly.
Exactly.
Or they're becoming problematic. It's not about that. It's just, you know, girls are now trying to make sure that...
To fight for their own space.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like the thing I would tell people, like when they say, oh, you're bitter, I'm like, I'm bitter if oppression comes to my face. If not, we are good. So if you, like everything, even if you see the kind of, even Black Lives Matter, the way it was done, it's because as Black people, we are tired on how we are being treated. So I can't smile looking your press. I have to be angry to organize. But also at the same time, you're like, do you have to organize based on pain? No, I don't want any woman to go through violence the way Mikali went through violence for them to be an activist. But what's the role do we have to ensure that there's that space? If a girl wants to wear whatever she wants to wear in Mathare, they can wear, not to be raped. Or I can do whatever I want to do. If I say no, I feel like I also want to be given equal opportunity, let it be the same. So it's, and that's for me as a feminist, I'm like, until we are all free the way I said, we have to keep on challenging. It's a lot of work, but if the others multiply, like the rest of Winnie Mandela, to Winnie Mandela, did their work, they multiply, what are we doing for our generation? And I'll quote maybe Also, Dr. Willie, the way he says it, each generation has its own mission. We have seen the first liberation in this country, that maybe this generation, it's pussy power. Pussy power.
You heard it.
Taking over.
Yeah. I mean, two women sitting down talking about such a sensitive issue, we'd be here the entire day.
And the bloggers, they are willing to jump on us. We wait. Kujeni too.
Thank you again, Mikali.
Welcome.
We appreciate you, for opening your doors to us numerous times. And also, lastly, before we let Mikali go, and before we leave this beautiful place, we have to at least talk to this guy who has been supporting your movement, right?
Yeah.
We just want to hear from him why he decided to do that, and why he's, supporting pussy power when he probably might not really understand what it means to.
Pussy power is not all about fighting men. It's all about bringing the gender balance in which we are lacking in our society, in our family setups. Women are not being recognized for what they are and what they stand for. So as for me, I come in as a man ally to help these women in this fight, because it's not easy. So on the other side, it was not easy for this community to accept a man like me will be supporting an initiative or a movement called Pussy Power. But as per now, they're coming to understand the main essence of this Pussy Power. Women are the majority. They should be treated the way it's supposed to be. So my hope for Pussy Power in this community is that we empower other women to stand up for their rights. We want women also to vie and know their worth. That is what we want, and women should be respected.